Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted Review podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford, and it's a post-match after Lega Warsaw testimonial, basically a testimonial for Artur Boric. Join me in this episode is St Roch's assistant manager Joe Reid. Well, Joe, we kind of spoke before we came on air, mate, about the performance and the result. What's your overall feeling from the result, the performance, and obviously saying goodbye to a legendary goalkeeper?
Because said to you, the first half, the pressing and that was phenomenal. Everything that we're looking for, 2 good goals, everything was good. But when you make that amount of changes at half time, it's gonna disrupt. But the first half was all positive, in my opinion, anyway. Boric, probably my favourite goalkeeper that I've seen personally at Celtic Park. I just loved the big guy. Thought he was brilliant. He's when he was with us, he was at a time where some of the saves he used to pull off were unbelievable. I would probably say he was world class when he was with us. I enjoyed watching him.
I would say so as well, mate. I think an article the other day, I don't know how true it was, but he says you're not back like Chelsea and stuff like that. I probably could believe it because at the time he was with us, I thought he was, like you, mate, world class. He's probably the best goalie I've seen. I know Fraser Forster was really good, but I just think the heroics, some of the saves he done, and especially the penalty save against Man U, I think that will always stand in my mind. That's probably one of his biggest saves I think he's done at Celtic.
I think if you were to check the stats, his penalty save ratio was unreal. And I don't know if you remember the Dundee United game that went to penalties and he scored the penalty. The finish was actually top draw. Do you know what I mean? Unbelievable. Just loved him when he came. Loved him as a player. And the game of the night, obviously, it then did probably turn into a bit of a testimony in the second half because they come on and all the changes that was made, it kind of changed the tempo of the game and that. So it's only to be expected. I think it was similar to the Blackburn game. First half, football, pressing, everything was really good. Second half probably shows that a lot of the fringe players maybe not up to scratch.
I'd probably agree with your opinion there, mate, to be honest with you. I think some fans are maybe, they jump on, obviously, the result and conceding goals, and you can dissect that individually, but I think it's hard to, listen to yourself, Joe, you played football and you manage and you've been involved in football a long time. You know when you make changes, when you maybe put lesser guys on or your transformation, things are going to die down, the tempo will die down, that's just natural, but I agree with the first half. I thought the football was really, really good. The intensity, the pressure, everything was basically everything that we've seen last year and what you're hoping to continue to see. But I just thought that it's a continuing. I think the first game of this season, obviously, it was basically a damn scrub. They're basically playing a Sunday League team, I think, with the looks at it. And then it's moved on. Obviously, the other guys come in. Julian's come in and played. Other guys have come in. And it's kind of come to a piece now, I would say. They've basically a week and a bit left to the Aberdeen game. I think if you continue with that first half performance, I don't think there's any worry at all.
Nah, it's as I say, it's like you can go back to your Martin O'Neill teams and Neil Lennon teams. You probably knew the starting 11 before you even walked into the stadium, but I couldn't tell you the strongest starting 11 just now because, as I say, Big Jackie Marcos wasn't there. And for me, he starts every game, but I wouldn't drop Kyogo either. So, like, there's a lot of decisions to be made. To me, you've got to fit both of them in the team. I don't know if he will do that, but me personally, I would fit both of them in the team.
I'm like you, mate. I think Jackie Marcus is top draw. I think we've been crying out for somebody like him. I don't think we've had somebody like that. I know Dembele was a bit of a lump, but I'd probably say since Hesselink, Joe. I don't know if you agree with that, but I think we've been crying out for somebody to, especially European-wise, to hold the ball up and let it settle. Because I think sometimes when away from home in Europe in the past, it's the ball's just been a hot totty. It's came to us and it's come back to our team again, and you're losing possession. And I think I've seen it against Ferencvaros with him, when he just came on. I think it was maybe 2-1 at the time. I can't remember what the score was, but he done really well when he came on. He was holding the ball up, he was getting fouls, and I think that's what he brings to the team. as well as his goals?
I think he's more your old school centre forward. He puts it about a bit, but I think the difference is he's a bit more he's more mobile than your maybe Hartson's and that. I'm not saying he's at the level of Hartson or that, but he's more mobile. And you've got to remember, we've watched Edward. Albeit he's scoring goals, but some games he never tried a leg. Whereas the big man he gives you everything 100%. So I'll take that every day of the week. And he scores. His goal to game ratio is unbelievable.
I don't know if you've seen it today. Actually, it was a guy played with Hearts, Ryan Stevenson. I think that he was a very good player, so I respect him. But his opinion the day was a bit wild. I don't know if you've seen it, but he basically says that Rangers have got Morelos, Celtic have not got an out-and-out striker, and he was talking about Lawrence Shankland playing with Hearts. Maybe there's a gap in the market for him to go and score goals, and I don't. He basically said that Celtic have not got 2 out-and-out strikers. And I'm reading the article, I'm like, Celtic have got 2 best strikers, in my opinion, in the country. 2 of them, Kyogo would have 100% hit our 20 goals if he wasn't injured. Jackie Marcus only played about 4 or 5 months of the season, fully fit, and he got about 13, 14 goals or something in the league.
Well, his statement straight away, his statement just doesn't make sense because Jackie Marcus was the top goal scorer and I think Kyogo was second. So that doesn't make any sense. And both they missed lengthy periods of the season, so that's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
Comment for the YouTube, Joe. Evening, lads. Overall pre-season so far has been great schedule for the Saturday, Wednesday. Get prepared for the turnover in terms of the Champions League against decent opponent who aren't mugs. I agree with that. It's been a good test. The first game was obviously a bit of a damn squib, but the rest of it, I would say, has been a decent test. There's been a few tackles flying in, especially the Saturday with Blackburn. But I think some fans were moaning about tackles flying in, but you're going to get that in your league. So why not pre-season? I know it's friendlies, guys do I get injured, but it's in the day, friendlies are to test you and get you prepared for your season.
Well, go back to Blackburn. If you're playing with Blackburn and you're coming up to play against Celtic, me personally, I want to put on a show that maybe I'll get that move. So that it's a cup final for these teams, and it's a scalp as well. Like they talk down to Scott. They put Scottish football down so much, and then they come up and plays and like all these pre-season friendlies. It's very rarely that an English team will beat you. I mean, you just like to look at Celtic in the Champions League against Man City a year ago. It annoys me when these English teams talk about your Scotland and that, because they're not so cherry picking players and they want to get them for pennies, but then they'll say that the league's a 2-horse race. But what league isn't a 2-horse race? Do you know what I mean? Every league in the world, bar Germany, which is a 1-horse race, every league in the world is a 2-horse race.
Aye, you're right, mate. Aye, Spain, you've got obviously Barca and Madrid. Germany, you're basically Bayern Munich. France is just about PSG in it. Nobody really gets close to them. Maybe the odd wonder season, maybe for Lyon or Marseille or Monaco, but apart from that, it's PSG. They've got all the money. You're right. England, it's Liverpool, Man City. The odd team might surprise you, but in up here it's obviously Celtic and the other side of the city. So it's
so my original point is when your Blackburns are coming, they want to get. They think we're just a stepping stone. So a guy will maybe put it about thinking, oh, maybe catch somebody's eye up there. So the tackles don't bother me. But my only worry is, I know the new guy coming in, I think he might be the answer to that. I just think we're a bit lightweight at times when the tackles fly in. Like earlier, they'd Lundstrom and they'd a few of their players had a bit about them. And as I say, I like big Jackie Marcus, but barring him and maybe one or two others, we're dead lightweight and we're nice and nice at times. It's not a bad thing, but sometimes you need that wee bit of nastiness.
It's something I've been crying out for months and maybe years, Joe, especially speaking about it on the podcast, basically every week I talk about that we're missing. I know it's going to be hard to get a one-year type player for the amount of money you're going to spend, but I think we're all technically very good. Like Hatate, O'Reilly, Turnbull, McGregor. I think we're all very good in the middle of the park, but I think we're missing a bit of the dark side of the game, the experience side of the game, and I think that might turn to Aaron Moy, who's obviously signed. Again, social media, as soon as a new signing comes in, it goes like hellfire. A lot of opinions, people kind of underwhelmed by it. The consensus I've seen anyway, people are saying, oh, it's a free transfer. You can't expect £6 million signings and Jotters and Vickers at every signing. You've got a budget. You need to go in your means of budget. And like we spoke as well, Ange want to bring this guy in just because it's a pals act. It's not a pals act. He's a very, very good player. When he played for Brighton and Huddersfield, I spoke to the showing guy this morning, Harper, and he even said that he says he was loved there. He says he's loved it all these countries. He's played in Australia, fans love him. The international team love him. He's played recently in the playoffs, I think, for the World Cup, and he says he was superb. He played 120 minutes, scored a penalty. So I think he says in an interview he might need a few weeks to get used to the ball and that again. But I don't think fitness-wise he'll be far away from playing.
To me, it's a no-brainer. It's a free transfer, and you're getting him for nothing. Do you know what I mean? And as I say, I wouldn't question Postecoglou.
No, I wouldn't question at all, mate, at all. His signings, the only one you can maybe give, I wouldn't say big question marks, but the McCarthy deal, I do think McCarthy's a good player. I just don't think he's going to fit into our team. I just think it's just not going to work for him. Again, I hope it does, maybe longer term, but the boy Gucci, I'm not seeing much of him, but I think if I was to go by from what I know, I think fully fit Aaron Moy's ahead of the two, in my opinion. International experience, his technical ability, his passing ability, I just think it suits us to a T. And the fact you're getting him for basically fuck all. For me, Joe, if you're going to buy a player like that, how much would it cost you? It would cost you a few million anyway, wouldn't it?
Aye, and again, you're like the manager said when Gucci gets up to speed, he'll be top draw. Again, I wouldn't question the manager. McCarthy, I always liked McCarthy, but you've got to remember he plays as like a defensive midfielder, and all the teams he's played for, they're maybe defending for 60-70% of the game. So he would be called upon, but we're not like that. We're the opposite. We're attacking 60-70% of the time, 80% of the time. So it's a weird one. As he needed, maybe for Europe, aye. Maybe you'll see the best of McCarthy in Europe. I don't know, but as I say, the Australian boy coming in, to me, some of the posts on social media regarding it are mental. They're questioning the manager. This is a guy who's, I said to you earlier, he's only had maybe 2 transfer windows. They're questioning his signings. It's bizarre. I mean, the Dundee United goal we signed, I said to you earlier on, I think that's a great signing, and I think he'll push Joe Hart all the way. And obviously Tierney was exceptional, but it used to pure piss me off when they used to always say we need cover. You don't need cover. You need players to come in to push other players. See that? Oh, we need a second choice left back or right back. I don't buy into that. You need a first choice right back or a left back to come in and push the current player on, or else the current player's just going to peter off at a certain level because he knows he's going to play every week.
I think that's the thing, Robin. Again, I'm maybe judging a guy too early, but I don't think the right back we signed for Sheffield Wednesday is good enough at all. I just think he's very, very raw. I think I can't really see him. I don't want to embarrass myself, but we signed him and Liam Shaw for Sheffield Wednesday. I just don't think he'll make it at all, Joe, at Celtic. Maybe in a few years' time he might, but I think as it stands now, for me, I think Juranovic is top draw. I've no qualms if somebody come in with a big bid and he went, because we all know football's a short career, and this guy, for me, is going to go to the top. Ralston, I think he's a steady Eddie, able to come in and play. Like you said, I think he can push Juranovic, but I think Juranovic will always play. especially the big games. But I don't think would you call him the third choice right back? I don't think, for what I've seen in pre-season and even the Betis game, I just, again, I'm not if I'm judging him too quick, Joe, but I just don't think he's got to the new to
Who signed him though? That's
See,
him and Shaw were in just as the man. I'm sure they were in just before the manager came in. So who actually signed it to? And like, we've got two right backs, and I actually really like Ralston. I thought Ralston was unlucky when he dropped it, but the guy comes in and he's just a lot of fans aren't keen on him. But as I've said to you before, see if he'd a foreign sounding name.
Aye.
And we'd signed him the start of the season, we just won the league, people would be ranting and raving about the guy. I think he gets a lot of bad publicity because it's just Anthony Ralston who's been there and nearly left the club. I like him. It's encouraging that he's kept going and got to where he is. It's buzzing for the boy. But as you say, Juranovic, he's different class. He's a level above again. So we're more than covered there. Can I really comment on the left back? I watched him twice, and I was pretty impressed with him tonight, the first half, to be fair. He looks as if he's fitting into the way the managers want him to play. So, and again, I quite like Greg Taylor. I think he's come on leaps and bounds. So I'm pretty happy with it.
See, I think for me, the only thing with Greg Taylor was I think he's done all right. Last year he was superb and made his that position himself. But for me, it was just, can he step up to the European level? And that's where I'm thinking. Scotland, I think he's absolutely fine. Rangers, fine. But I just think the step up, is it too much for him? Again, this year will tell. But I just thought maybe the sign of Bernabeu, the money we've paid for him, and the fact they brought him for Argentina, to me it senses that when he's fully into the team, I think he's going to be the left back. But again, I could be wrong. It's just what I think. I think he's very good going forward, very quick. Again, that's maybe an advantage he's got to Taylor as well. Taylor's nose quick. Taylor is defensively, he is steady, but I think I'm maybe looking at the European side. And for me, I've
got to remember, Ryan, like sometimes Juranovic would play on the Saturday, and then the following week he would drop him right out and bring Ralston in. So he's probably going to do that with this new guy in Taylor, because he's happy enough with they two coming in, and they'll get their rest every now and again. Like as I said to you earlier, you don't want McGregor playing 60 games a season. And I know McGregor's different class, and he's an 8 out of 10 every game, but you don't want to rely on him that much, because he picks up an injury and then you lose him long term. And I think the intensity, the way he's want us to play, and the intensity he's want us to play, he's got to have two players for every position, two players that will comfortably come in and out for every position. I think that's what he's trying to do.
I think you're spot on, mate. I do believe that every season you've got to improve every position, and I think you've got to have two at least. For centre back, I think the new were very lightweight. I know we brought in the guy Lenz. Don't know how good he is. I can only go by YouTube and whatever else. He looks a big, strong guy. Julian has seen the plans. We don't know. Welsh, I think Welsh is an okay backup. European wise, I just think maybe European wise he would get outclassed.
I'm not a Welsh fan.
I'm the same as you, Joe. I just think he's maybe an able backup to play against maybe St Mirren, etc. But I think if you want to go to the Champions League level, I think you need to buy better. Again, will Lenz be that? I hope so. Supposedly he's been trapped with the club for a while, so like you say, it's very, very hard to knock the manager's signs as yet.
No, it's again, like, we want new signings in, but on paper you've got to remember you've got Julian, Starfelt, Vickers, the new guy, and Welsh. So you've got 5 centre-halves. So you're going to need to offload a couple of them before you bring anybody else in. Up top, you've got Kyogo, Giamakis, Maida can play there, and you've got a Jetty still there. So again, a Jetty will be on good money. So it's all right. People saying, "I get rid of him and him and him," but they're not going to get the money that they're getting, so they're going to hang tight. So, like, obviously, to balance books, and I know people hate hearing that, but to balance books, guys have got to come out now and before people come in, and that's why signing that guy in a free transfer is a no-brainer for me. Absolute no-brainer.
No, I think I get it. I was always willing to give him a chance, but for me, I think the dust has settled on him. I think he's not going to play. The fact he's not played the last two friendlies as well, he's not even been involved. I think that's kind of telling you the picture. I thought the pre-season game, the first game against I mean the team, but I'm not very good. I just think he looked disinterested. They just didn't look up to it at all. I like you say, balancing the books. I know fans don't like to hear it, but you've got to balance the books somehow. You've got to sell players, and you can't keep bringing guys in. And again, I don't know if it's disrespectful, but I call it the dead wood. The guys that are not playing, the fringe players, and you need to offload somebody because you can't keep buying players expecting to get transfer fees. You need to let guys go away so you can bring guys back in again.
Definitely. That, as I say, I keep going back to it, but look, that's why the guy's been signed on a fee. Because realistically, it would take a massive signing to move any of the middle three that we've got anyway. As it stands, you've got Hatate, McGregor, Riley. Who else plays in the middle? Hatate, McGregor, Riley. This new guy will come in. You've got McCarthy. It's going to take a lot to shift them, and I say it's going to be horses for courses. That you might see this, like a lot of changes in the middle of the park every now and again, depending who we're playing, depending away games, depending where we're at. And you know yourself, we always get bad injuries. I mean, look at Kyogo out for months. Giacomakis was out at one point. We were playing bloody Maida through the middle of cell, and it's a squad game now. So you've got to have a strong squad. And for years and years, Celtic did a strong 11. Even Martin O'Neill days. Think about the starting 11 for Martin O'Neill, and the bench was always Ulrich Lawson, Momo Salah, Steve Guppy. It was always poor subs that we had. Well, no poor, but gone with the level your starting 11 were. It was night and day. Football's changed so much now.
I would say that, but I think that's spot on, Joe, to be fair. I think our bench now, you look at obviously the bench, you've got a lot of options in midfield, like you say. But I think you will see a lot of chop and changing, obviously, with the Champions League. Guys might be coming in, like you say, about Joe Hart and Siegrist. Joe Hart might play the first day, and he might come in the Sunday, depending who they're playing. The midfield's just going to be, for me, I think the midfield is going to be the most that will chop and change. I think the middle three, because I rate Turnbull. I don't know what you think about Turnbull, Joe, but I think Turnbull's, some fans don't really rate him. But I do rate him, especially his goal threat. He might hide maybe sometimes, and maybe when it comes to the battle side of the game, but I think going forward, I think he's very, very good going forward.
Well, Turnbull was the one I couldn't remember who it was I was thinking about, but it was Turnbull. And again, I wasn't his biggest fan, but coming the tail end of the season there, we were crying out for him because defences were sitting 2 banks of 5, and you could put 11 amateurs in front of a professional team and see if the 11 guys are behind the ball working their arses off. It's hard to break it down, and sometimes you need to shoot, and that's Turnbull's game, and we missed it. We missed it with the tail end of the season. I know we won the league and that, but there was games you were at and you were crying out for somebody just to hit a shot and just see where it went. Because if you remember right, there was one of the games Carter Vickers hit a shot for about 40 yards that hit 2 players and went in. It's hard to break down teams, especially when they're coming and they just want to sit in, and it's so frustrating, and the fans go on the players' backs and that, but it's so hard.
Or like it'll be the same this year. You'll get teams like St Mirren, St Johnstone. They'll just come and park the bus basically, and that's when we need to break them down. And I think the game at sticks in my mind about that was I think the Northern Eats game at St Mirren, where we tried everything and we just couldn't get the ball in the net. And that was a game where again fans were questioning the manager, and I think the injuries at that time were quite poor as well. I'm sure Abada was up front at that point. Like you say, it's very hard to defend against 11 men behind the ball at any level. Yeah, comment as well for the YouTube there. Pot 4 of the Champions League. Aye, it's no ideal, but the fact we're there, it's brilliant to look forward to. But I think for me, defensively, I think, Joe, it's the only worry I think about maybe Europe. I don't know if it's just a Celtic culture, because even with O'Neill, we had a good team and we got battered in something in Europe. So I don't know if we just need to wait to see when the new manager and the way he's want to play. I think going forward, I think we're brilliant. I don't think any questions whatsoever going forward. I just think it's maybe wee tweaks at the back that we need to tweak, hopefully, going into the group stages.
Definitely. If you remember, we were there in Germany, and to be winning that game 2-1 with 10 minutes to go, to lose that game, the game was amazing. It was brilliant, and Celtic were brilliant up to that last 10 minutes, but it's game management, and I know he wants to play a certain way, but he'll learn for that as well. And that game should have been won, but we threw it away. We just constantly try to push forward, because at that level, you make one mistake, you get punished. It's happened to us. How many times it happened to us in Europe? One mistake, you get punished.
It happens all the time. Like I say, people in pre-season are making mistakes, and I'm saying I know it's only pre-season, but if you do that against a Real Madrid or a PSG, they'll absolutely they'll do you in. It's criminal to do that. I know when people say it's only pre-season, but you've got to iron these mistakes out now, because if you take them into the league or into Europe, like you say, these high-level teams will punish you.
Definitely.
And I was in Germany as well for Leverkusen, and I thought that I didn't want to blame the manager, but I thought he made the subs at the wrong time. I thought when he took them off, it totally killed the game for us. I'm sure when he took Beaton off, I thought Beaton played well that night.
You'll be the same as me. 10 minutes to go, and I still had a bad feeling that we were going to lose the game.
I think it's just Celtic, isn't it? I think even Barcelona, maybe you're 2-0 up or whatever, you're thinking just try and get a draw. But I think going forward in Europe, I think it's a bonus if you qualify. It's for Celtic, it is a bonus, but you want to try and compete. I think this year I'm not wanting to be the fourth pot and getting 3 points and whatever. You want to try and compete. I know it's very hard to compete with the money that these teams have got, but you do want to try and compete. At home, you might get a good result. You might compete, but I think it's away. I know we've done okay with Postecoglou away from home. Not done too bad, but there's hope, I would say, for the games in against Leverkusen. I know Betis was 4-2, but Ferencváros, there's hope you can maybe see going forward. But I think it is a bigger step up, and I'm not looking forward to it. But in a degree, Joe, you just hope that we don't get personally battered.
It's always a struggle. It's like anybody can beat anybody. I mean, you've seen a couple of the results. I remember Barcelona, was it 7 they took off us, or PSG took 7 off us? And it was like massive news, which it should be. But then you've got that Glint taking 7 off Roma. Do you know what I mean? And like some of the Champions League games, you see Real Madrid taking 6 and 7s off Shakhtar and all that, and it doesn't even raise an eyebrow. But if we get beat with the same amount, it's like catastrophe. But I know, fair enough, I know we shouldn't be getting beat with that kind of score, but you get your freak results in the Champions League.
I think that's why it is one of the most loved competitions as well. It brings out memories and, like you say, freak results. But I think for European wise, I think even guys like Moyes, he's experienced. I'm a big believer. I don't think you need to have played in Europe to be a success. I think if you've got experience and know how, if you played international football, then I don't think you've any really need to worry, because the guys played at a high level, playing in the Premier League. I just think European wise, I'm looking forward to to bring it, and hopefully we get a decent. I know it's very hard to say a decent draw because every team's going to be better than you because you're only in pot 4. But I got a comment as well for YouTube as well, Joe. Julian, Welsh, Johnston, Shaw, you're going to get a Yeti and Shaw, in my opinion, aren't good enough to help the team go forward this season in the Champions League. The demand, basically quality, and none of them are above that. I would say for me, I've liked Julian, but I don't know if his head's away right now. I just don't know if he's going to fully fit into the squad. The manager's plans. Welsh, I'm like you, Joe. I'm not a fan of him. Mikey Johnson, he's obviously got talent. I just think he's going to make it Celtic. Joe, I don't know what you think of Mikey Johnson. I know he's a bit of a to and fro between fans, but I just don't think he's going to play enough games to get his development. I know, I say development, he's 22, 23 now.
I think he's actually 24.
See, I don't know what you think, Joe, right? But if you're 23, 24, and you're not playing every week with Celtic, are you going to play every week with Celtic? I would probably say no. But I know guys peak at different times, but I just think that don't think he's good enough, Joe.
Put him against Abada. You've got Abada who's 19, come in, not expecting to play, and what did they score? 13, 14 goals.
Aye.
And he's 19, and you've got a guy, Mikey Johnson, who's 23, 24. For me, he's had his chance. He's just not good enough.
I'm like you. I think most of the fans of what I've seen are the same opinion, but I just think he's obviously got talent to make it through the Celtic youth system. You've obviously got to have something, but I just think he's not going to play every week. I know Anne says that if he's got to get himself playing and whatever, but you know, and I know, Joe, you can only train so much, but if you're not playing every week, you're not going to fulfil your potential.
Nah, it's for me, he's had his chance, but all the names that the guy said there, I've no qualms about any of them, to be honest. I wouldn't argue the fact for any of them. And as I say, it's hard to shift them on, though. It's hard. If we can get them shifted on, I'd imagine there'll be more faces coming in. But the manager tell you at the start of the week, two's come in, that's it. So I'd imagine there won't be many more coming in or out. And I'd imagine there won't be many more coming in unless some go out. I think this is his squad just now. If he can get some out, he might get a few more in. But I don't think he'll be pursuing anybody just now until he can trim the dead wood out.
I think there's definitely. I know you've got Barkas out. Like you said, a Yeti. He's going to be on at least, I'd probably say, give or take 15 grand a week at least, because he was £5 million signing. And I think fans forget that as well, Joe. If you're signing guys for £5 million, they're going to get £5 million wages. Same with Jota and Vickers. Jota's supposedly the highest piper in Scotland now. Don't know if that's the truth, but it was a guy who spoke to Fraser, a journalist, and he's been quite reliable on everything he's told us, and he says supposedly Jota's the highest piper in Scotland. It wouldn't surprise me, to be fair. I know really the captain maybe should be highest paid. I don't know if that's maybe me just maybe thinking that, but Vickers have won good money as well. So when you're signing these guys for big money, fans forget that they're getting big wages as well.
Again, you look at Barkas. It's a £5 million goalie, so you'd imagine he'd have been on 20 grand a week. He's got to have been. And I think I'd spoke to you about it, right? He left the club and he had a wee bitch about it. I used to watch him at half time. So they would come out to warm up at half time. Him and Beaton, it was usually. He would start keeping the ball up. Never saved it, never done any warm up. Keeping the ball up 3-4 minutes, then went up the tunnel. Every game at half time. Did not do nothing at half time. And this is a guy who's meant to be a professional football player. Fair enough, you're pissed off that you're not playing, but it was just, it ended up became a running joke because my seat's right behind the dugout and the guys running about me used to notice it every week. Just come up, keep the ball up, and then straight up the tunnel. That was his half-time warm-up. Absolute shambles.
So I noticed it as well. I sat where Celtic warm up. I sat basically just in front of that, and you see the side of the park of the goals, and he's not interested. He was just front of the deck, and they're kind of laughing. I mean, you're getting paid. I know you're not in the match day squad, but you're still earning your wage. You're still part of the squad, and like you say, it's no a good thing to see when your goalkeeper is worth supposedly £5 million. He's acting like that. I think it's unprofessional.
Well, it's a worry. It's a worry the day you sign a goalie and he says, "I don't like playing in goals. I prefer playing out." That's alarm bells should be ringing that day.
Again, I don't know if he was a rush signing, but he's obviously he's away in loan now. It's interesting that he didn't put an option to buy clause in it, to be fair, but I don't know if maybe you'd say didn't want that. But like you says, going to the midfield, the night I thought Hatate was superb on it. I think he's going to be a big player for us. I know the end of the last season, I just think it was tiredness because he played already a season before. I just think he's brilliant. His touch, his passing, just everything about him. His goal the night was superb. The ball from McGregor and the finish was shall I say, world class.
Hatate's just. I think everybody could see he was running on empty. I think he told you that. All the Japanese guys were they were blown at their arse basically at the end of the season. I mean, I'm a big Manger fan, and you've played football. See somebody like that running at you all the time, that must be horrendous, man. And you know, you take a touch, he's on you. It must be horrible to play against somebody like that. And to be fair, Kyogo's the same. They're just really busy, and obviously that's the way the manager wants us to play. So it's a joy to watch at times. The pressing at night in the first half, you've got 2 and 3 guys closing players down. It's brilliant to watch.
I think we've seen it as well, Joe, for last year. That's the way he's wanting to play. It's just full frontal. I think it's, but the way I thought last year was for 60 minutes, go gung-ho, and then he would make the changes. He's very, very, I think his philosophy is just a full attack, pressure. And like you say, Maeda, I wasn't too sure him at the start when he first came in. I don't know if he's a striker. I don't know if he's just a guy you just let him do what he wants. Just go and just shut guys down, chase the ball. And when he's doing that, I think he gives the defence in the midfield a bit of leeway because they can push up and they're not having to do the chasing because he's doing it. And like you say, it's maybe giving McGregor a break for doing that because he's as a guy who, let's be fair, McGregor's everywhere on the park. He's not just sitting defensively, he's always everywhere in the park.
Well, again, all the years McGregor's kind of they wanted him doing the Scott Brown role for a while, and he was playing really deep, which that wasn't for me. And then you think back to, remember the game we played Motherwell at Hampden, and he scored. Mm-hmm. It was a worldie, absolute worldie. It was like he touched it, and then it was like a half volley, and then he scored against Rangers. Then he was scoring goals every week, and he was always the front foot. And then for a while he was playing as like a defensive midfielder. And it doesn't suit him. So again, I don't know the new guy who comes in. I don't know if he's box to box, if he's defensively. I prefer McGregor pushed on a wee bit.
I think Moy is a defensive midfielder. I think he's mainly in that side. I think he's an eye for goal when it comes to free kicks and stuff like that. But I think it's Mary's passing range. I think it's meant to be top draw. His technical ability, which again it fits into your system because we're all about technicality and going forward with the ball. And I just think Hatate for me, Joe, is brilliant. Him, O'Reilly, McGregor. I do rate Tumble, but I think Hatate, O'Reilly, McGregor's probably your three
that's my three. O'Reilly's going to be top draw. You can see him. He's going to be top draw, and I think we can see that's why Roch was let go to get this boy in because he's like a younger version of Roch. I think to lose somebody like Roch, you would need to be a special talent to let them come in, and I think he is that special talent.
I think as well, Joe, he was only $1.5 million. I don't know what the add-on is, if it's a clause. I think MK Dons would be silly not to add in a clause, but supposedly I think it is at the money ball, whatever it is, at the scouting thing today. Supposedly Man City looked at him and he was top. Everything he done was top of the top marks. His stats were supposedly top. So it's the fact we're going for $1.5 million, Joe. That's the thing for me. You've got a guy that it just shows you well, Joe. There's talent everywhere. He's played in League One and he's going to be playing the Champions League very soon, and for me, I think he deserves his place in the team.
Well, again, it's like, how can you question your manager when he signed a guy who nobody, let's be honest, nobody ever heard of Matt O'Reilly, you know what I mean? And you seen his first game, you were like, how have we got this guy? He's passing, he's technical, but he's unreal. It's a masterstroke signing somebody like that.
I think he's top class, to be fair, Joe. I think I'm the same as you. I think him and Tati are going to go places. I think with McGregor as well, for me, I've always said McGregor could easily play in the top 4 in the Premier League. I'm not saying every week, but he could definitely do a job down there. And I've said it before, I don't want to sell him because I think he's absolutely top draw, but I think he could easily... He's another one that obviously we talk about players, Joe, like their value, and the English media kind of down tools against their players. Like Van Dijk was only 12 million, or why did bigger teams not sign him? He was not good enough to go to Southampton, and now he's classed as one of the best in the world. For me, guys like McGregor could easily go down south and basically chauffeur him up.
So Andy Robertson as well, do you know what I mean? Look at the career the boys had. Nobody would have had him. What was it? Queen's Park, he was at. And then Champions League winner, do you know what I mean? And he was at Hull as well. And I just think they undersell Scottish players. They undervalue them.
Aye, it's happened for years. And I know obviously Kieran Tierney, I think he's 25, 26 million. I know he's got his injury problems, but I still feel at the time it was a good value for us. But I think he's worth a lot more than that. I think Kieran Tierney's one of the best left backs in the world when he's fully fit.
Yes, definitely.
I don't really want to compare him and Robertson, but I just think the two of them, for Scottish football, the two of them are superb. And I think whoever plays left back for Celtic for as well in the next few years, they're always going to get compared to Tierney. I think that's just natural. But I think with Bernabei, I think we'll be all right with Bernabei. I think he's looking okay so far. The night, like you said, the first half, I thought the full first half, the probably say the only negative, Joe. I don't know what you think, if I'm maybe overcritical, but I'm not a fan of James Forrest. I never have been. I know he's done well in the past. He's been a great servant. He's scored some important goals, but I know I wasn't physical myself when I played, but I think at that level he's playing at, I think he's a bit of a shite bag. I don't know if that's me being too critical. I just think I don't know if that's injury problems mentally. I don't know.
Everybody starts there, right? And see the day James Forrest retires, he starts up below anybody, starts at the bottom. But long gone are the days of important goals, but I just think his time's up. See, even the day of the first half, his decision making's criminal, man. Criminal. And he's an experienced professional player. He's probably the longest serving player at the club. And some of his decision making's terrible. But again, we've given him a 3-year deal, which
I can't understand it, to be honest with you. I didn't understand it at the time. I know he's experienced, and obviously Ange's maybe leaned on him for help about obviously the club and Celtic, and like he says, his stats, if you look at his stats previously, he's been superb. But I said to the boys last night, I'll say it to yourself, mate, I know lockdown and COVID affected a lot of players' performances, etc. But if you look at his last 2 years on his stats and his performances and his goals, does he deserve a 3-year deal? In my opinion, no.
Again, we've got our opinions, but if the manager wants to give him a 3-year deal and it was him that gave him it, so be it. But like, we're going through all this team here, and I'm kind of laughing because we're talking about fullbacks and that. 2 years ago, we were watching Laxalt and John Joe Kenny. Do you know what I mean? That's where we've came from, and that's where we are now. That Greg Taylor and Ralston, you would have them every day of the week, or Laxalt and John Joe Kenny. Do you know what I mean? And that John Joe Kenny's back playing with bloody Everton. Do you know what I mean?
He's just got a move to Berlin as well now, no?
Has he? I didn't even know that.
It just shows you, but some of these guys, it's like a merry-go-round. Doesn't matter if they play poor, it's like some managers down south and up here. They get relegated, but they always get a job.
Nah, definitely. So I say, but we need to remember where we've came in such a short period of time. I mean, you lost the guts of the full team. I mean, see now, you're not missing Ayer or your Christies or your Edward. Edward was phenomenal, but I wouldn't swap him now for Giannakis or Diogo. I generally wouldn't.
I do think they two are brilliant. I think they're goal machines. It wouldn't surprise me if the two of them fully fit and go over 20 goals each next year. I think they're absolutely superb, and I don't think any striker in Scotland can compete with they two. And I don't really think Rangers can sign anybody worth the same amount of quality. I think the prices were bargains as well. Kyogo was, I think, 4.5, and Giakoumakis 2 million or something, 2.5 million.
But again, it's Giakoumakis missed the penalty against Livingston, and people were wanting shot at him, man. The media had turned on him, the fans had turned on him. He missed a penalty. Do you know what I mean? And it was always, why would they take that? But then you get the other argument, why does a striker not take the penalties? And the striker stepped up, take the penalty, missed that, and he gets absolutely slaughtered for it.
I'm a big believer in your strikers should be taking penalties. In the day, they're there to score goals, and obviously if you've got a penalty taker, then obviously he takes it. But for me, I think your strikers should be up to first dibs. But I do think they two will score a lot of goals. But obviously yourself, Joe, you're the assistant manager from Roch. How's pre-season been for you? Has it been everything you can expect so far?
It was they brought the gaff ring pretty late, so we've not had as long as we wanted with them. But the fitness levels are the boys they're buying into it straight away, and we're hammering them at training, and they're doing it. Do you know what I mean? They're buying into it. The squad was quite light, but this week alone, I think we're looking to bring in a couple. So we'll get there. It's been enjoyable. It's been a bit of an eye-opener. Got a lot of good players, and there's a lot of decent players in the squad, and there's a wee buzz about the squad now. So hopefully we've got our first home. There's a home friendly this Saturday, and you know yourself, the fans up there are mental, and hopefully they can see a difference for fitness and hunger and that, and we go on and we give them a wee show on Saturday, and then the league starts the following week. So looking forward to it. How's
your difference been? Obviously, I know you through amateur football, you manage amateur. How's your difference between the amateur going to obviously this pyramid system? Is the standard and the expectation a lot bigger now because of this pyramid system, and it's because it's kind of classed as semi-pro now?
I think it's, again, your ones at the top of the pyramid, some of the money that they're spending. There's guys leaving first division football to go and play at that level at the top of the semi-professional or whatever they want to class it. Some of the money that they're paying is unbelievable, but obviously there's levels in that as well, and I think it's a knock-on effect. It's, you know yourself, we'll call it it is senior, but obviously it's come up for junior football. Mm-hmm. Junior was always your ex-pros kicking about and just try to still play football. It's all young boys now, and it's all fit young boys. It's, you know yourself, football's come on now, so everything's fitness. They've got to be really fit, and technically they've got to be up there. It's not just you're all pro standing in the middle of the park pinging balls about anymore. It's everything's professional as possible, and you see some of the clubs, and even up at the Roch, like the club post and the stadium, that everything's there at their disposal.
I think obviously the full change in the kind of system, it's obviously built, like you say, it's basically junior and senior. Like you say, the top teams I say top teams, you've got Darvo, you've got obviously Onlet, Port, teams like that. They'll probably spend a bit more money compared to teams kind of like yourself. But like you said, the fact that you can maybe still call on some good amateur players as well. Like obviously you've got a lot of contacts for amateur. Is that something that you would obviously use as well? I know you're not a manager, but is that something you can maybe give the manager a bit of nudge, by the way? He played amateur, he's actually can step up to this level, giant. Obviously, the leagues have all changed as well, but the Cala League and I think is it what's the league in the Colo used to be Central Scottish. Do you think some of the players can step up to that level still?
I think they can. It's just like anything, Ryan. You know yourself. It's commitment. It's like if you want it hard enough, you look after yourself and get that level. First and foremost, it's fitness. You can have all the ability in the world, and you know yourself. See if you're not fit enough, you're not going to cut it at this level anymore. So straight away, you've got to be fit. Fitness will carry you through a game. I would rather have 11 bang average guys that are fit that will give me 100% than your one superstar that isn't fit and swans about.
Aye, I think fitness is a massive thing. At any level of football, if it's obviously senior, if it's amateur 21s, I think it's a massive thing. So I can notice it when I was playing 21s, the fitness levels for kind of going amateur to obviously your 21s, it was a bit of a step up. You had to be every training session was like a marathon. It was ridiculous. Is the training different for what you would do in amateur? Is it a step up again? Obviously because of fitness. Is it because maybe the temple's a bit more sharper? Do you need to tweak a bit more going into that level?
Well, you've done my training session. Mine's are always slightly different. Mine's are, you know me, I do a lot of the core work and a lot of stuff that probably isn't classed as proper football training. It's more circuit core work and get your core built up. You know yourself, when you were fit, the last 20 minutes of the game, any of the amateur teams I had, they were running out of tappy teams, and it was just getting up to the old boxing gyms and getting guys to do core work and old school circuit stuff. But we do split it up. We do both. We'll work on formation. The gaffer's big on working his formation, and we'll do that in our training sessions. I'll go on. There's running. Obviously, it's disguised running because the days of running on a track for an hour for pre-season, guys don't do that anymore. Most of the guys, they look after themselves and they want to be fit anyway. But it's no. I've not changed anything that I would have done if I was training an amateur team. To be fair,
I do believe that. I know people don't like doing all the fitness stuff, but I think sometimes, especially in a team situation, when you go to like a boxing gym or you go and do circuits, I think it's like a bonding thing as well because you're all each other own. You're all want to keep up with each other. You don't want to be the last guy to be the first guy out. You want to push yourself, and I think that's what's going to be pre-season. When I thought I was relatively fit, I thought you wanted to be the first at the doggies, the first doing this. You didn't want to. It was like a challenge with your teammates, and I think that's pre-season is good as well for that side. It's a good bonding thing for teams as well at any level.
Well, you done the grip post days, didn't you?
No, they were brutal.
Aye, absolute brutal. But most of the boys, they'll come on and tell you that was the fittest they'd ever been. And again, you hit the nail on the head. It's not just the fitness; it's the bonding when you're doing the kind of sessions. Because I'm big on you pull the guy next to you through. You don't just leave him because you wouldn't do that on a Saturday. So if a guy next to you struggling, you go and help him out and pull him through the session. And that's what we're trying to feed into them at the Roch now, because it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard, but if everybody buys into it, we'll be a tough team to beat.
I'm agreeing with you as well that you can have all the talent, but if you're not fit, you can't improve your talent. I think that's a big thing. If you're fully fit, like you say, you could be an average player or above average, but the fact that you've got fitness, it will, for me, I think it will tide you. Like you say, the last 15, 20 minutes of games, guys are tiring, and most of the time, the better teams who are fully fit, they take that edge of you, especially when you go up a level, if you're fitter. Because that's, I think, the big thing you notice, you know yourself, I think, probably, when you see full-time teams playing part-time teams, most 9 times out of 10, obviously, freak results can happen and etc. But normally, the team who's full-time, the last 15, 20 minutes, their quality's still there, and the part-time team's quality sometimes isn't there.
Well, we've had a few pre-season games, and the tempo's been really, really good, very, very good, and some of the boys are exceptional. Some of them on the ball, some of them are exceptional, and they're buying into what we're telling them, and it's hard to describe without you've not been there. They complement themselves well. So, see in the middle of the park, you've got 3 guys who complement each other. The defence, they've complement each other. There's a cracking nucleus of a squad there. As I say, there'll be a few others added in the next couple of weeks, whatever. But they're all buying into what we're selling. And at the start, a few players didn't fancy training. They moved on. That's just the way football is. They didn't. If you don't want to do the training, that's fair enough. But we need to be 100% because because of the team we are, and you know what I'm meaning. We're going to be up against it every week. It's a cup final. You turn up at the Roch, you see the green and white strip, and you see all the fans with the banners and the flares. It's a red rag to a bull for some teams. Do you know what I mean? We are what we are, and we're up against it every week. So we're going to need to be up there, and we're going to need to fight as a team if we want to win anything.
But I think you see that, like, obviously the fan situation, that must be a good thing for the players as well, knowing they're going to be playing in front of a crowd most weeks, especially if Celtic are playing, they're probably going to get more fans in the door. And it must be good for yourself knowing that, like you say, you're kind of got to, because it's getting to that level now, you're kind of obviously amateur level and even junior, your fans are paying when it comes to junior and they want to put a show. But I think now, like you say, they're there with the drums and the banners. You're kind of going to put a show for the fans as well, not just to win the game. You're there for the fans as well.
Well, people can laugh about what I'm going to say here or whatever, but I firmly believe they've got over 100 season ticket holders, and we've got a duty to show them decent football. Like they guys, they've probably followed the club for a long, long time, and they've followed it a long, long time after everybody's moved on. But you've got to give them. They're paying good money to go and watch this, so they've got to get home and say they enjoyed the game. It's different now. It's like your social media platforms and that. So people want to be talking about stuff and they want to go and enjoy a good game of football. And as you know yourself, that there can be 300, 400, 500 fans up there. If you can't get yourself up and you don't want to bust your arse for them, you shouldn't be at the club, to be fair.
I generally think it's a brilliant thing that the fans are engaging the club and, like you say, season books, etc. And I think the biggest thing as well, for me anyway, it's a good atmosphere to go and play your football in. You've got a crowd there, like you say, the camaraderie between the squad, and that's not going to bode well going into the new season.
Hopefully, as I say, we're up against it because of the club that we are. But I like that. I like that. And as I say, I'd love to be able to run out in front of that kind of crowd every week and put it about. And if you can't get lifted for any team, let alone a team that can pull 300, 400, 500 fans, you shouldn't be playing at any level. You know yourself, you can play down the park with one guy in his dug, but your commitment level shouldn't be any different. But surely walking out and seeing all the fans, that must give you a wee lift. It's got to.
Oh, but if I was still playing, Joe, it would definitely give me a lift, 100%. The fact you're warming up, the fans are all playing tunes and all that, and I definitely agree with give you a bit of lift going into a game, especially a big game if it's like a Scottish Cup game or a game you need to win or whatever, or a game against your rivals as well, which most people who follow Roch will know who that is. So it'll be, like you say, it'll be a hope for a good season for you, Joe. And obviously good luck for the rest of the season. Overall with Celtic, Joe, what's your overall thoughts of pre-season so far? And moving on to obviously Norwich and Aberdeen.
Totally enjoying the football. As I say, it's hard because you're watching two different teams over the course of a 90-minute game. But I think that the first half of the game tonight, I think that showed you we're there or thereabouts, and I'm buzzing for the season to start. As I say, the manager says he was bringing two in, and that was it.